Alright, you ready to talk about some shit?
Yes! Yes!
Hello, guys.
Welcome to...
Talking shit. My name's Joe, and his name's Dan.
My name is Dan.
Yes. Today we are talking about
A film.
Snowpiercer.
Yep.
Captain America is in this film.
Captain America is in this film.
Doctor Who is also in this film,
Yes, technically.
and this film is a bit weird.
This film is a bit
And I don't know how to feel about it.
I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth over these last few... I say last few days.
24 hours.
Yeah, these last few 24 hours.
Just a few.
Yeah, but I mean, I've had a lot of time to think about it, because, you know...
I haven't actually thought about it, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, but you've been working, so... It'd be a bit weird if you were handling your company's money and you were just thinking... Why is everybody on a train? I don't get it. Why is everybody on a train? I don't get it.
I should have been, though.
You should have been.
I should have been.
Because it's official, folks. This week, Britain came out of its second lockdown, and we were immediately plunged into the highest tier of this new tier system. So it's basically still lockdown, except other places other than Tesco's, Chippies, and Pizza Huts are open.
I don't know if was this even a lockdown, really?
I mean,
It didn't feel. It didn't. You know.
Well, I mean,
nothing's gonna change for me in the next couple of weeks.
I mean,
so.
don't get me wrong. Nothing changed for me from before lockdown, during lockdown, to now after lockdown. Nothing has fucking changed apart from how many people are at my work when I go. But yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one. But I mean, I guess the idea is that there was the option. Like, we weren't going out and, like, fucking drinking and going to pubs and stuff because all our mates moved away to uni, so... But, like, we had the option before, and then we didn't, and now we still don't because Tier 3, yay.
Hey.
And everybody's coming back, so that is kind of a shame, but, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, my guy.
True.
As you can tell, we're very high energy at this time.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired, man.
And it's been a long week.
Yo. High energy.
Okay, let's get the energy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about 2013
yeah.
Snowpiercer, which is a film directed by the big baddest boy in South Korea, Bong Joon Ho.
Boong.
Boong. He's like, is that like South Korean?
Is it Bong or
Basil
Boong?
Bush? It's Bong Joon Ho.
Oh, sorry, Bong.
It's Bong, like how you fucking get high and shit.
Yeah, all that malarkey.
All that malarkey, yes.
Malarkey. What a great word.
So, yeah, there are just some words that, you know, when you say them, you're just like, that's a cool word. Like, malarkey, just, that feels right in the mouth.
Ooh.
And then, you know what, there's also something, you know when you say, like, the same word over and over again and you start to realise how weird it is?
Yes, yeah,
Like,
it sounds like a different word.
Yeah, like, I was watching Auntie Donna, because of course I was. Because I've recently been infected with Auntie Donna, and if people listening don't know what Auntie Donna is, they are a Australian sketch comedy group, and they are fucking hilarious. My dad and my mom hate them. Apparently older people just don't get it, but I think they're fucking funny. But either way,
It's anti-boomer.
yeah, the problem really is with the boomers, not the content, okay guys? So if you're a boomer, maybe stay away.
Old people should die.
They really should give me a fucking house.
Make way for the youth.
Make way for us. We've got all this money from TikTok and we don't have any houses to spend it on.
TikTok and Fortnite.
TikTok and sometimes together.
At the same time.
To be fair, as much as boomers should die, we should too, because fuck me.
Every generation has
TikTok.
yeah, their form of TikTok.
Like,
I don't know what it was for the
during World War II, it was propaganda. It was that guy with the poster where he's pointing at you. That's their version of TikTok.
That man encapsulates TikTok.
One of the most famous men in the world at that point.
We
Now
need
it's-
you.
Insert TikToker's name here because I don't have TikTok. I don't know.
Charlie D'Amelio.
Okay.
Edison Ray.
I've heard
Dixie
that name.
D'Amelio.
I haven't heard that name. These are the superstars of our generation. But either way, I was watching an Auntie Donna. I was watching an Auntie Donna sketch about masturbating in a tent, and they keep saying in their Australian accent, like, I'm not masturbating. Are you masturbating? I'm not masturbating. And they just kept saying masturbating so much that like I forgot that it was wanking. Like I thought it was just something else. Like I was just like, what is this word? What is this word?
You ever masturbated in a tent?
Have I ever masturbated in a tent?
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever masturbated in a tent? Because the way you asked that is if you have, and you were hoping that I had too.
Oh no.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not looking for another friend that holds my values in terms of.
Oh, you want someone? Oh, okay. I'll tell you what I have done in a tent is that I used to have like a big trampoline that had like you could put a tent on it, so you could sleep on your trampoline. You know, one of those.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right? And then one night we went to some party from some family that also did taekwondo at the time. Like I was younger at this point. I was like, yeah, I used to do taekwondo. What a boy.
Jesus.
My instructor looked like Voldemort. But so I went. So we go to this party of a bunch of.
Does he listen to this podcast?
I doubt it.
You might want to cut that out.
Yeah, because he could beat me up very hard.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll just leave a big beep on that section so that Voldemort doesn't come and break my fucking vertebrae. But anyway, I went to this party and there were these sour cream and chive Pringles, you know those kind?
Oh yeah. A lot of people say they're the best, but I don't think so.
I don't think so for this reason, because I fucking scranned them. I absolutely scranned them. Like, I think I had about 2 whole... What would you call them? Just 2 whole packs, I guess. They're not really packs, but, 2 whole big...
The full-size tubes?
Yes!
Are you being serious?
I had 2 full-size tubes for myself. And, I'm a small guy, but imagine me as a kid, even smaller, like... And I wasn't even working out then, obviously, so I was like a skinny kid. There was little to nothing to me, and that's all I ate for the whole night. So we go on this trampoline to sleep out in the back garden, because I guess why not? And my whole family's there, and in the middle of the night I throw up from eating all these sour cream and chive things.
Did you do it on the trampoline?
Yes. So, and think how a trampoline works. The weight distributes how, like, like whoever weighs the most leans towards. So the sick was like following around the heaviest members of my family. They were desperately trying to outrun the sick.
Was it dripping? Was it dripping?
I don't remember, because I think I went in and went to sleep.
Nice.
Like, everyone was awake.
See you later, guys.
Everyone was awake when I threw it, but I was like, I was like 6 or 7. I'm not cleaning that up. I'm going to bed.
It's unresponsible.
Yeah, I know. I was a bad
6-year-old.
I was a bad kid. But that's enough about my sour cream and chive Pringles life. Let's get back to the fucking reason we're doing this. So Bong Joon Ho, my guy. I love this man. I haven't even seen, looking through his filmography, I really haven't seen enough of these films. I think I've literally only seen Okja. What's it fucking called? I love this guy's film.
which I have never.
Which I've only seen one of.
Oh yeah.
Fuck's sake. Well, so apparently I've only
the one being Snowpiercer now.
Yeah, so I've seen Okja. Sorry, my bad. I've seen Okja. Yeah. I've seen Okja. Jesus Christ. God, this is so good. And if you're wondering why there was a weird cut in that conversation, don't worry about it. You've seen none of these then, other than Snowpiercer, have you?
I've seen Snowpiercer. Yeah.
You didn't watch Okja?
No, bro, I haven't even heard of it.
It's a Netflix horror film. It's fucking weird. It's really fucking weird. Yep.
Hippo and elephant.
Yep. Oh
Cool,
God. I'm thinking about it.
Looks quite sweet.
Well, maybe watch it and come back to me on that comment. It's pretty fucking... it's weird. Much like Snowpiercer, heyo, its film's weird. So, Joe...
Hello.
What is this film about?
Right, so I think the setting is probably the thing that gets you mostly hooked, which is they're on a train.
Yes.
This is because of global warming. There was this chemical or something or other that was released into the atmosphere to try and counteract it.
CW7.
Yeah,
is the name.
Try and counteract it. Turns out it worked too well or something like that, and basically the entire world has frozen over, and it's basically been inhabitable.
Yes.
For 17 or 18 years.
It's 17 years at the start, but then they go past this bridge which marks the new year, so it becomes 18 years since.
And it takes exactly 365 days for it to make a full revolution. So, they know how a year passes based on what they pass. Yeah.
That's not the word.
And, the main thing about this train is that it's split up into... it's basically a class system.
Yes.
And you've got the people at the back of the train who have no space. They're
all dirty.
They eat bloody cockroaches.
Whoa, spoilers!
Into jelly. Well, yeah, protein blocks, bro.
Protein blocks.
Protein blocks, yeah. Yeah, and
made out of stop motion cockroaches.
Yeah. And then at the front you've got the big boys having a great time.
Mm-hmm. The higher class peeps.
Yeah, I think that's most it's a good commentary, but
the concept of the train is very interesting. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's interesting.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the things that you can kind of disregard in a way, because it was made by this kind of weird bloke.
Yeah, which we won't spoil it here, but we'll get into it in non-spoilers. But yeah, the idea is that at the very front of the train there is the guy who runs the train and owns the whole thing, called Wilford, and he's in control of everything. And Chris Evans' character Curtis wants to lead a revolution to get to the front, to control the engine, to disperse all the wealth evenly, and to fully take over the train and make it a more fair and just way of living.
Mm-hmm. And there's been many revolutions before. Yes,
this isn't the first one ever, because there's a character called Gilliam, played by John Hurt, the temporary 5-minute Doctor Who, and he has lost an arm and a leg, literally, to previous revolutions that he's tried to lead. So he's kind of seen as the leader, but Chris Evans is slowly becoming the new leader. But maybe along the way, things get a little fucked up and people change. Ooh, maybe.
Yep. Just spitballing.
Despite the fact we've seen the film, we're just spitballing. We ain't going to spoil it here, folks. So, Joe.
Yep.
Do you know what it's time for?
Are you going to tell me, just the coolest things?
I'm going to tell you
behind the scenes and stuff.
I'm going to tell you the coolest fucking things behind the scenes, in the scenes, out of the scenes, which is still behind the scenes, but because Joe,
it is
time
for
trivia.
Yeah.
Clap. Thank you. Thank you, those two people in the audience. We have a live audience, and only we had a big sign that said clap, and only 2 people did it. So thank you to those 2 people. Thank you. You're the life and soul of this shitty show. So the very first trivia is very interesting. So, as I pointed out to you at the very start of this film, when you're going through all the production companies that were involved in this, there's of course the Weinstein logo.
Yay.
No. Yeah, no, not yay. the opposite of yay.
I get confused on when See, sometimes the yay and the no lights in front of me, they get mismatched and they flicker on and off, and I'm just confused. So
we're gonna have to fire an intern for that. They showed you the wrong prompt.
Yeah. Shit.
So so I really liked this fact because it's just a big fu to Harvey Weinstein even before people knew he was a monster. So apparently, Bong Joon Ho would clash with Weinstein like constantly because apparently Weinstein would frequently interrupt on set and try to like have way more of an influence than the director, like to make it his version of the film.
I mean, it's not his place, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's not. You look at some of the messiest films in history, some of the worst kind of just boardroom created bullshit movies, like specifically like superhero movies, like a lot of the DC stuff or a lot of the X-Men stuff. It just all gets ruined by producers trying to get involved and make it what they think it should be, whereas it should be a director's vision. Just let people create things. And among the many requests that Weinstein insisted, he was the big thing that he wanted to do was get rid of the fish scene.
Does he not like fish?
So essentially, just to explain to people, this isn't really a spoiler, but as they're breaking through each cart to get to the front, one of the early carts has like a big cult of these axe-wielding maniacs.
Fucking look like they're in gimp suits, but yeah.
Yeah, they do look like they're in gimp suits. I'm assuming they're like meant to be butchers, like they're meant to deal with food, maybe. I don't know, but they are going there's a big standoff where it's like, oh my god, all these butcher looking gimp guys with axes are gonna fuck up the poor people breaking through, and just before they start attacking they all like rub their axe through a like raw dead fish. And I said to you at the time, I was like, I'm assuming that's so that they can like infect any wounds they do. They can like infect them, and it's all weird. There's a lot of weird stuff in this film, which I dig a lot. And this was one of the first things where I was like, okay, this is cool now. Like this is weird. I like it.
But it's just weird, like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird, but I like it. I like it a lot. It's unsettling, which is what it's meant to be. You know what I mean? Like it really works because me and you were both like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So he wanted to have it removed in favour of more action, which I don't understand because it's immediately followed by probably the biggest and best action sequence in the whole film.
Was that when they go into the class?
No, that's when they do the fish and then they have the big battle where Chris Evans grabs one of the axes and like starts fucking guys up in like a single take. And then they have the lights all turn out and like the torches, which I will get back to because there's a cool fact about that as well. So Bong considered that like his favourite shot in the film and was like adamant, like, no, I want to keep this in the fucking film. So apparently he told Weinstein that he wanted to keep the shot in for a personal reason. He said it was a tribute to his late father, who was a fisherman. And apparently, upon hearing this, Weinstein was like, "Oh, family is very important to me. So yes, I'll let you keep that shot in." And then in an interview years later, he said it was a fucking lie. My father wasn't a fisherman.
Go on.
What an absolute legend. So in that fight sequence, there's a moment where like the poor people are actually kind of overcoming all these axe wielding guys and winning. And then Tilda Swinton's like, fuck you guys, we're going to turn out the lights and nobody can see, but we've all got night vision goggles.
Yeah,
and
that's really good.
It's so cool. And then to combat this little boy who grabbed some matches earlier from one of the Korean guy they're using, they broke out of prison to help open the doors because he designed the security for the doors. They light like a bunch of torches, and that's how they win, by like lighting the room up with all these actual like fire torches, like out of fucking Indiana Jones or something. Yeah. Apparently there was no additional lighting used, though. All the light came from those torches that they actually lit.
Practical.
Yeah, because the whole set, they built the whole fucking train like in a studio. It's like something ridiculous like, let me scroll down and get the exact measurement because
that's actually very, very cool.
That's very impressive, isn't it? It was, Jesus Christ, how far down is the fucking... I can't find it. It was something like 312 feet or some shit like that. Like, it was fucking huge. Yeah, sorry, I can't find it. I did read it earlier somewhere, and I can't find where I pinned that. Sorry. But yeah, they built the whole fucking thing. Like, that's really cool. So the protein blocks the big bits of black jelly that, as Joe mentioned, are made up of grind up cockroaches. Ugh, it's fucking horrible. Apparently they were actually made out of seaweed, tangle, sugar and gelatin. And apparently Jamie Bell hated them, but Tilda Swinton thought they tasted real nice.
I mean, that kind of fits her character, man. She's a weirdo.
She's a weirdo. Don't insult Tilda Swinton. She's a bloody living legend.
Her character. I like her.
What's her character?
I like
name,
her
Mason?
as. I like her. Yeah, I like her playing bald teacher in Doctor Strange.
Your favourite film of all time?
No.
£14, Joe. You fucking loser. Go on to YouTube movies right now, look at it and have a long think about your life.
Whatever I will do in my life, it is ultimately it doesn't really matter compared to this fact that I bought Doctor Strange on YouTube movies for £14.
You tried to say that so quietly as if to, I'm going to turn that fucking up in the edit. You are not escaping the shame.
No.
So, Bong Joon Ho was kind of cautious about casting Chris Evans in the lead because, you know, Chris Evans was fucking huge at the time. I mean, Chris Evans is still fucking huge, you know what I mean?
Just come off the first Avengers movie, I guess.
2013, so he would have been, during this, he would have probably just wrapped up on Avengers, so he probably would have still been huge from Avengers as well.
I mean, Avengers came out in 2012.
Yeah, and this is 2013, so...
Yeah.
So they probably, just as they finished shooting on that, he probably started on this.
Yeah,
because in the Avengers press junkets, he's got shaved hair. I remember seeing, because he obviously was shooting this. But apparently they just used a ton of... That's staying in.
Bless you, Daniel.
Bless me. Nobody says that after a burp.
Yes, they do.
Okay, well, thanks, bro. Yeah, apparently they just used like camera trickery and like obviously big clothes to make it look like he was actually a starving little boy. So yeah, what else is there? I don't fucking... Yeah, according to the filmmakers, trained babies fucking develop animalistic hearing, which we'll get into how that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yep. Chris Evans apparently personally reached out to Bong Joon Ho for the audition after hearing like what kind of casting he wanted. So Chris Evans desperately wanted to be in this film. I guess he'd read the original French graphic novel Les Trans Personnages. That's definitely how you say it.
No, that was perfect.
Yep, and the final fact, because I can't be bothered to do anymore, the last scene, which obviously we can't spoil, but this will become apparent when we go into the spoiler section why this is fucking ridiculous. The last scene was shot in Australia. Oh, Austria.
Yeah, I was going to say. Unless they just went to Australia specifically like to have some kind of Australian green screen. Because it shows better.
Can you imagine why I was so baffled?
Yeah.
This is so hard to talk about without spoiling. I read it the first time, I went, there's no way. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Austria makes so much more sense. I'm fucking clapped ass retard.
Okay. You are pretty clapped.
Thanks, man. So, I guess we go into just our non-spoiler review before we start properly talking about this film in depth. I would say, good movie, better than most. Just...
Yeah,
it's hard to talk
it's
about.
Wasted, kind of. It's wasted a good idea and a concept because of the last 20 minutes of execution, maybe. But at the same time, I don't know what the books are like, and maybe it's a graphic novel.
It's a graphic novel.
Oh, maybe they've just followed that very closely, and that's a bit.
See,
strange.
this is why I'm in two minds about it, because I'm very much like. We spoke about this, how the start of this film draws you in with the concept. It's really fucking interesting. And that, like, the scenes of injustice against the people at the back, like, they do a really good job of showing how dirty and disgusting and how awful everything is. And you really feel like, you really want them to fucking have this revolution. Like, every time Chris Evans is like, nah, not today, like, you get more and more frustrated. So when they finally do revolt, like, you're really, like, remember I was like, yeah, like, I was fucking hyped.
Yeah, and like all the characters, they're likable and
you
cool.
Really,
you get behind them.
Yeah, you get behind them. Yeah. And I was going to say, the first, like, action sequence of the film is really shitty. Like, there's a bunch of shaky cam, and you pointed it out, actually. You were like, you can't fucking tell what's going on. Like,
I was like, what the fuck? It's just moving bodies.
For no reason, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it'll literally just be a still shot where if it wasn't shaking, you could see what's going on.
It was like the first 2 or 3.
I think it was the first 2. Like, there's the escape scene, which looked like... The escaping looked good, but anytime they were punching, like, you just couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah.
And then there's the bit where they break the Korean guy out of the prison, and he tries to fight back, and there's just shaking for no reason.
I don't know, man.
But then all the action sequences, for me, it's like, as you go further and further, maybe this is the intention, but it's a bit dumb for this to be the intention, but as you go further and further up the train, the action gets better and better, like, in terms of how it's shot, and the choreography gets better, and, like, the concepts just get each room is more and more interesting. You're just like, what the fuck is... They get to, a school at one point, and the things
I like that the best, to be honest.
Yeah.
In terms
the things
of
they're teaching these kids, you're like, what the... Like, it's so weird, but, like, you're into it.
Yeah.
And then the ending just kind of... That's why I'm in two minds about it, because I would recommend watching this film, because up until the ending, it's fantastic, and then it's not like the ending's even bad, it just raises too many questions that it's not prepared to answer.
It's the ending mixed with, like, a couple of other things that have been present that haven't been answered all the way through the movie.
Yeah, that you feel like they are going to be at the end, and then they're just not, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get into it, but I would definitely, you know what? Yeah, I definitely recommend seeing this, because even with the ending like this is a million times above your average Hollywood fucking blockbuster. Like, there's some really cool concepts here, and some really interesting, some great acting too. Some really good acting. There's only a few bits of writing that are a bit weird, but I do want to point out that Bong Joon Ho wrote this as well. And bearing in mind that this is a French graphic novel being interpreted by a South Korean director who's making it primarily in English. Like, there are Korean characters in this who speak Korean, but this is the first film he did, like, fully in English. So I do kind of feel like some of the lines do feel a bit weird. Like, there's not that many, maybe 3 or 4 lines, but they do stick out like a sore thumb. But I do want to give it the benefit of the doubt and say, you know, it is like 3 ways of translation coming through. I'm like, so yeah, I'd say check it out. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 seems fair.
Yeah, I'd say 6.
Yeah, I was leaning 6 or 7, but I just think the concepts are too cool just to let the ending ruin it fully, but it does kind of ruin the experience.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't go back and watch this again, just because it's, when you know where it's going, like, it kind of ruins everything before it. So, but for a first watch, I give it a 7 out of 10. Like, if I watch it again, it'd probably go down to a 6.
Yeah. Or would it go up? Oh my god. Ooh.
I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll watch this Netflix series, which I'm not gonna watch, and looks really shitty. Anything else you want to say before we go into spoilers?
No, I don't think so. I did think it was going to be better than it was. Like, I had somewhat high hopes.
Yeah.
Because loads of people said it was good, and you know, it's not really anything to go by. But 94% Rotten Tomatoes.
94%, really?
Yeah, 7.1 on IMDb. Yeah, so. I don't know, man. But
maybe
yeah,
it just... I don't know. Maybe it just didn't really fully connect with us. Maybe a second viewing would make it better. I don't know. I've watched some stuff since, like, about a bunch of theories and all this. There's a really wacky video that I want to promote at the end that is kind of really fun, that has an insane theory for this fucking film. But yeah, it's good. It's not bad. Don't think it's bad. It's actually very well made. There's a bit of shitty CG. Again, it's weird. The CG feels kind of stop motion-y for like the first 40 minutes. Like, there's like the shot where the train's moving, and from the inside you can see what the outside world looks like, and it looks like a stop motion animation. Like, it just, the frame rate doesn't match, and while the scenery looks really cool and interesting, like, it just looks fake. Like, it doesn't look real. But then suddenly, as the film goes on, the outside world looks better and the CG gets better. So I don't know. It's a mixed bag. This film is a mixed bag, but yeah, I'd say 7 out of 10. So that means the official talking shit rating of it would be 6.5 out of 10.
I guess.
That's how it works. Sure. So, Joe, what are we moving into?
Yo, spoilers.
That's right, guys. Joe is going to count us down as the spoilers, and if you stay listening to it after that, despite being thoroughly warned, and then you get mad and are like, "Oh, they spoiled this film."
Are you going to say the biggest spoiler at the count of 1?
Yes, I will. Yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God! Chris Evans actually likes to eat babies.
Yeah. They are pretty tasty.
I was gonna do the thing, where I say a fake spoiler and then go, "Get out of here, guys." But then Chris Evans eating babies came into my mind. And I thought, well, I've got to say that, don't I? So yeah, Chris Evans knows that babies taste better than adults.
Yeah. Jokes aside, though, that was a really good...
That's a powerful fucking scene.
That was a really good scene.
Holy
Especially when he's just... he's right on the doorstep of where he's been trying to get to all this time.
Yeah.
He kind of looks back and he's like...
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the last gasp of, like, brilliance, like, where the film is just fucking flawless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably the best scene, actually, not the fish. That's probably the best scene.
Yeah. And then in terms of wackiness, the classroom scene, man, it's like... Oh, my God. Oh, the children, it's just like a wacko... It's just, like, such a wacko, like, alternate kind of... like reality that is inside this classroom, but
it's believable. That's the thing. Like,
yeah. But it's all just like you can tell they've just been brainwashed basically by propaganda that Wilford is like this
omnipotent, godlike
ultimate
figure.
Yeah, and and they're basically all just clapping and smiling for Wilford. Yeah,
and she's like singing. She's on like a rotating piano, singing a song, like pulling like an orgasm face while she sings about Wilford. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Did you know the teacher in it?
Yeah. I've recognised her.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
I have. Yes.
You know the drummer, the really moody drummer with ginger with the fringe.
Right, yeah.
That's her.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I didn't believe it. I was like, no fucking way. Like, it said... I was going through the curses and it said she was in Scott Pilgrim, and I was like, what? And I was like, oh my God, she's like called Alison something, I forget her name.
Alison Pill.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, so... I don't want to kind of just start ranting about the plot holes, but there are a lot of plot holes in this. Like... let's just quickly...
It's just weird. It's just not
let's just quickly run through the full plot for anybody that doesn't really care and is just listening to the spoiler section, so they understand, what we're talking about. So basically, throughout the film, Gilliam, the leader, this old John Hurt, leader of the dirty people at the back of the train, and Chris Evans are receiving these little notes inside of silver capsules inside of the protein blocks and inside of like eggs and stuff like that, that have like one word hints and stuff. So they think somebody at the front is like trying to help them out in getting to the front and having this revolution fully go through. And then like they go through all these things and people die along the way, and it's like, oh, Chris Evans finally makes it and he reveals all this stuff about how when the train first happened and they were all shoved on, they like all the people at the back had no food, no nothing, and he was a big cannibal going around stabbing people and eating babies. And the Edgar character, his mate Jamie Bell, who dies, he actually ate his mom, and John Hurt cut off his own arm so that Chris Evans so he could eat that instead of having to eat the baby. And that baby grew up to be Edgar, which is really fucked up when you think about it. Like,
yeah, and all the while Edgar doesn't know at all.
Yeah, Edgar has no clue. And think about it, Joe. Like that's the reason he keeps him at arm's length and doesn't fully let him be his full right hand man. But at the same time, it's like
he doesn't want to have him look up to him.
Yeah, but you kind of owe him that. Like, if you're not going to tell him the truth, you at least owe to not be like a deadbeat dad to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell, Chris. But anyway, they get to the front of the train, and Wilford accepts Chris Evans in, and he's being held at gunpoint. And Wilford drops all these fucking truth bombs on him where he's like, hey, bruh, like, this was all planned by me and Gilliam. Me and Gilliam are in cahoots. There's a phone at the back of the train that he's been using somehow secretly, despite the fact, I don't know how the fuck he's been able to use that phone without anyone noticing. Like, there's no one in the... There's so many people cramped at the back. Has nobody in the middle of the night heard him whispering, like, so we're going to do a revolution and fucking kill 74% of the population.
So yeah, kind of just get that straight. We're gonna kill 74% of these people in this carriage around me. Okay.
What did you say? Kill the poor.
Oh, nothing. You'll see.
Oh. But yeah, so like, and he explains that this has actually all been a big predetermined test for Chris Evans to see if he can take over Wilford when he dies at the head of the train, to, like, you know, make sure the population stays in check and keep everyone slightly insane. Like, it's this whole ecosystem, this balance that they keep banging on about, which kind of does make sense but also doesn't. Then at the end of the film, he finds out that the kids that they keep there's this character called the Child Snatcher who just comes in and like takes people's kids that are a certain height because they're the only ones small enough to like run the train and like do all the mechanics behind the scenes to keep the engine going. And Chris Evans, who's always wanted to sacrifice his arm for some reason, finally sacrifices his arm by getting it caught in a cog to save the kid. And then the train fucking crashes because South Korean guy blows up the door because he wants to escape. And it causes an avalanche that crashes the train, kills everyone but the fucking psychic, I can see through walls girl and Timmy the kid, and they come out into the snow and they see a polar bear, and it's the end of the film, like, oh, so they can survive outside and life will go on.
Maybe. It's up for interpretation. I don't have a problem with that. It's just everything in the 15-20 minutes before that.
Yeah, so go on. I've spoken for too long now. You explain some of the issues here.
Okay, issues. Okay, well, let's just start by this. The daughter of the South Korean guy who can unlock the doors, who's also like basically a crackhead, Chronol head.
Chronol,
yeah.
Chronol, yeah.
It's like this waste from the engine, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, it's never really explained, but I'm assuming. Yeah.
They you know, it's a drug. They get high on it, whatever. But apparently, she's clairvoyant, and Chris Evans randomly picks up on this in the film. He's like, "Oh, so how can you see through doors? You must be a clairvoyant."
And if you think he's joking, that is literally the exact line.
I mean, yeah, like, and then it's kind of just accepted, like, sure, and then later it's kind of attempted to be explained by apparently kids born on the train are very hypersensitive to the vibrations inside the train, so they can see through walls. That like okay, the vibrations you could.
That's never explained, by the way. Like, I had to look that up afterwards. That's never really.
Oh right, I think. Oh right, okay. I think I read something like that as well.
Yeah, I don't
thought
think
it was
it's
in the
said
film.
in the film at all. No.
Right. Well, that's
why
more.
we were so confused.
Yeah, because even if that is a thing, that doesn't make sense to how you can see through
fucking walls. Yeah.
like 2-3 inch thick steel. Sure, man.
The idea is that, apparently I've read into it, the idea is that because she was in prison, which the prison on the train is basically just like, you know, the things in morgues where you slide the corpses in and out like drawers.
Yeah.
That's basically it. So apparently the idea is, maybe this is explored in the graphic novel, I don't know, but apparently the idea is that being around that kind of gave her super sensitive hearing, but that's that doesn't make sense.
I mean, I think whichever way you look at it, it's stupid.
It just doesn't make any fucking sense.
And the thing in the end, like the stuff before that, her seeing through walls, you kind of accept and it's whatever. But at the end, where it's reaching this kind of climax where Chris Evans, Curtis, his character, he's been offered
Wilford's position,
to take over the engine, and he's standing there for ages, and he's like, because he's never had his own freedom or space or whatever,
and he's kind of just had his entire life shattered, so like he's kind of just standing there not knowing what to do.
Yeah, so he's of course tempted because it's immense power, great power.
Yeah. Also, just to quickly explain, the Korean guy who has supposedly been addicted to Chronal this whole time has actually, they explain it's very highly flammable, and he's actually been collecting it throughout the years. Like he's never gotten high off it. He's not a junkie, and he's actually been using it to make a bomb because his actual goal has been to get to the front where the only gate is to open to the outside world and blow it up.
Yeah, because the outside world is...
Yeah, and that's why his daughter runs into Chris Evans to grab the matches, which is what you're about to talk about, under the floor and shit.
Yeah, and basically what kind of sways him is the fact that she runs in, sees this kid who's supposedly fixing the engine underneath the floor. They open this random flap in the floor.
Yeah, like they rip up a whole fucking tile like it's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
And then Chris Evans, sees this kid and he's like, oh nah.
It's Timmy, who's the daughter of Octavia Spencer.
And he promised
that.
Promised
when she died, he promised. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that sways him, and then he beats up Wilford, and I don't know, bro. I just find it dumb.
It's so dumb, and the fact that he gets his arm trapped in this cog that's above Timmy's head to try and get him out and get him to escape, but Timmy doesn't fucking react until somebody physically comes in and picks him up and takes him out. So I'm but I'm thinking, hang on. You ripped up one floorboard, why don't you try ripping up another fucking floorboard? Because clearly that kid had to get in somehow, and the engine never stopped, so that cog won't stop. So, what do you're not going to think about this for more than 2 seconds? I know you're fending off a bunch of crazy people outside, and Terminator Man, which also doesn't make any fucking sense. But, think about it for more than two. Oh no, you just stuck your arm in there. Oh, you got your arm cut off.
And I guess
narratively satisfying.
Yeah, I mean,
But also,
I guess
it's not. It's also not narratively satisfying because the idea is we've just been told that this whole Gilliam character was a fucking lie. I know it means something to Chris Evans because Gilliam cutting his arm off was the reason he spared Jamie Bell's character, and the reason he turned around and tried to be a better person and stopped murdering people.
Yeah, and Chris Evans couldn't do that at the time because he, whatever.
But but now he knows that's all been a lie. So why does he still want to sacrifice? It's kind of it does make sense to be narratively satisfying, but it's not because we've just been told that guy was a dick this whole time.
I didn't feel I didn't really care. I was just asking myself why.
Yeah, and then he just dies.
Yeah, and
he dies off screen. Our main character dies off screen along with everybody else on the fucking train when the avalanche hits.
Yeah, and then we're left with these non-characters, basically. Yeah,
girl who can see through walls. It's I kind of feel a little emotion towards you, and Timmy, sure, you're a kid, whatever. I'm supposed to be oh no, the kid. But nobody's taken into account that Scottish ginger guy's kid just fucking died.
He just disappeared into... He just disappeared into some random...
dildo.
Dildo in the wall, sure. Jesus. It just doesn't make sense.
One thing that has made sense to me now after looking into stuff is, I remember at the time I was because there's a big informational video for the kids halfway through they explain, it's kind of used to tell the audience as well. There's a lot of things where they're trying to explain stuff to the kids, but it's basically just expository dialogue. But yeah, so they explained that the train was originally conceived as like an around the world tour that took it never stops, and it takes 365 days of the year to get around the whole world exactly. Yeah. But and at first I was like, who the fuck designs that? But I've realised since it's because Wilford was one of the only people that realised CW7 was going to fuck the world up, so he used that as a front to make it. So that does make sense now. And they do say in the film that everybody called him a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
But you know what doesn't make any sense? Why
what?
The population has to specifically be this specific amount. It has to specifically be made up of these class systems so that when the population looks like it's going to get too much, you can have a revolution and the poor people can just kill off. The poor people can kill off a bunch of rich people, and the rich people can kill even more poor people. And then you can wait until there's another, and then you can wait, let it rebuild, and then. But here's my thought. Just don't let that many people on the fucking train. Like, I'm not being funny. You're a fucking millionaire. Just like you're a billionaire or some shit. Just have the rich people and cut it off. Because then they can have kids, they grow up and die, and that's it. Like, it doesn't need to be this big thing where... I know you're insane, but, like... Bro, just think about it for more than 2 seconds. And also, at first you let all these poor people in, and you don't give them any food, so they start murdering and killing each other. Okay, but... why not just give them food from the off and then everything's fine? Like, you can clearly make these protein blocks. There's enough cockroaches going around. Like, why would you have them... Is the idea that Gilliam was planted from day one and he had to cut off his own arm and later his own leg just so people would eventually follow somebody else that would then take over the train? Because that's elaborate as fuck and makes no sense. If you just get the poor people in and feed them immediately... everything's fine, like, and you can still have a revolution because you're feeding them fucking shit. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You're just killing off people at the start for no. Just let less people in.
I know there's an argument for because there's a constant supply of kids, and then you can use these kids to do the repairs, but then they only took 2 kids.
Yeah,
and I guess that's those 2 kids will probably last for like. Maybe a year, if that, because they're just going to grow up and be too big. So I guess that's one thing, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, and how were these people selected? It's just random. They've been on there for 17 years as well. Like, it's just
it doesn't make any sense.
It's like, but then you come back to like this whole class system type, maybe commentary on the real world thing. Like, that's really cool, but it's just not the same time.
There's a lot of stuff in this where, like, you know how he chose to set the original CW7 going out in 2014 because obviously the film came out in 2013, so he wanted to be like, look, this happened now. Like, he doesn't want it to think it's like, which global warming's fucking us up and we've gone too far already, we're all gonna die, we get it, but like there's just a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, everybody sees Chris Evans as this leader, and everybody on the train who, bearing in mind, it's only been 17 years, so pretty much everybody that's on there, other than Jamie Bell, who's grown up in those 17 years and has now, like, got to know him since then. All those people that originally got on the train, like Octavia Spencer, because she's older than Chris Evans. She must remember that he used to go around and eat fucking babies.
Yeah, like there's so many people that would know the atrocities he's committed with, and his other gang members, because there's apparently a gang of baby eating monsters.
Like, and it's like, and everybody in the film's like, you have to lead Chris Evans, and Chris Evans is like, oh, I'm not right to lead, and Chris Evans is right. Like, why is everybody like, nah, that eating baby stuff was 17 years ago, don't worry about it.
Pish posh, mate. It's only a couple babies.
Don't fucking worry about it, mate.
Hey, we know they're the tastiest too, mate.
Oh. We know. It makes that, like, there's just a lot of stuff in this film that as soon as you start to think about it for more than 2 seconds, it doesn't make any sense. And you could switch off your brain and just enjoy the film, but it's kind of impossible when the last 20 minutes of this film is nothing but explaining these things. Like, it's not like there's a bunch of action. Like...
Yeah. And then also another thing, the thing where they have no bullets, like that's cool that they've like thought of that, and it's like really because this is why they revolt. They can revolt because they're like, oh, they've got no bullets, they can't shoot us.
They have no bullets.
Yeah, and he holds the barrel to his head, like, that's sick.
That's such a cool scene.
And then as soon as everyone realizes that, it just kicks into high gear, and everyone goes like
all the shaky
mental.
Cam.
Well, yeah, shaky cam, bloody hell.
But yeah, and then I remember I said
they
to
get
you,
further
like,
up, and
yeah, they have bullets, and I remember saying to you at the time, I was like, if you did have bullets, why would you not? Why would you keep them up front? Why would you not keep them at the
most
bottom?
dangerous part of the train where people have been known to revolt? But
Literally.
maybe that's Wilford.
Which, yeah, I was about to say, maybe that's obviously a ploy by Wilford so they can get further. But this is my other point of things that don't make sense. Is Chris Evans fucking stupid? Because even at the end of the film, Wilford's like, you really didn't know this was all a setup? Like, really? Because he's getting messages from the front. Who in the fucking front is trying to help him set up a revolution? What, does he not think for 2 seconds, wait, how the fuck does this... Like, who's giving me these messages?
Yeah.
Like, and also, how much help is getting red notes that say blood, train, bullet? Like, the bullet one, you're like, oh, they have no bullets, but train and blood?
Yeah. And also, these guard people, like, they must be kept the fuck out of the loop, because why would they want themselves to go down there without any bullets? Like, are they all just part of this grand conspiracy, and they're part of this cult where they agree to not have bullets, but then these other people...
No, they're told different things, because Terminator Grey Suit Man, who's above all of them, remember, like, there's a point where he just shoots one of them for being a dick, and the other one doesn't immediately go, oh my god, you killed my friend, and shoot him. He goes like, yo, chill, because he's like, oh, we have to have less damage, and this guy's just like, nah, fuck that. So I think there are different stages of who's in the loop and who's not. But that's a very hard secret to keep, like, that you don't have bullets. Because then later on, you give some of those guards at the back bullets, don't they? Like, you see guards that were at the back now have bullets.
Yeah.
And you're like, hang on a minute, so do none of them go, wait a second, we had bullets this whole time?
Yeah, and these people who do have bullets, who supposedly maybe keeping this secret, like, how are you getting people this loyal to you when all the people who are the guards, realistically, they know of life before this happened. Yes. So to them, they're going to be like, well, who the fuck's this fucking crazy guy? Yeah, we're on his train, but like, you know, I don't know, man.
There's also
I feel like I'm thinking it's more and more unbelievable.
Yeah, there is this element of, like, Chris Evans is like, people are like, do you remember what it was like on the outside? And Chris Evans is like, oh, I can barely remember it. Bro, you were 17. You lived on regular Earth for 17 years. You don't.
At 17, you are sentient. Like, you do know what's going on.
Which means at 17 he was eating babies. But like, the thing is that I understand the things of, like, I forget what steak tastes like, and I forget, like, I get that, but there is this element of, like, you don't remember the first 17 years of your life anymore. Like, I get that, you know, being on this train at the back in this one constant space for ages probably drives you insane, but surely the memories of your past is, like, the only thing that would keep you going. I don't know, it's just a bunch of this stuff that doesn't make any sense. And then there's just maybe the people at the front.
Like, maybe the people at the front are like they're not just like upper class, higher class people. Like, maybe they're that, like, the top 1%, like the very top, like, tier of people, and then they just got these random people in the back to I don't even know, man. I don't know.
There's like, yeah, there's also just dumb moments. Like, there's a point where this is where the CGI looks good, like, from the outside of the train. You see, like, the train's going up this kind of, like, big U-turn, and the Terminator guy, who doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I understand, I can kind of get behind if you're a train baby, okay, like, you can from being inside so much, for some reason you have better hearing and can kind of see through walls with sonar. Like, I can at least go, all right, you have an explanation for that. But what's the explanation for the Terminator guy? Because also, he's not a train baby because he's old. Because it's just some guy that's just fucking invincible.
Yeah, he we think he's dead in the sauna, and then probably like half an hour, 40 minutes later, when the plot requires, he just gets straight back up like nothing happened.
But they managed to kill him by snapping his neck. They pulled a God of War on him.
Yeah.
But like, there's a bunch of stuff that just but like, and they at this U-turn, they're on completely different carriages. Chris Evans and this Terminator guy, and they try to shoot each other through the glass and hit the other one who's like miles away, and you're like, what the fuck? You're like, of course this isn't gonna work. Somehow they get close, and I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
They shoot the glass, and they basically would have hit each other if the glass wasn't there, and then somehow from like hundreds and hundreds of meters away, they kind of nod to each other like, yeah, man.
Mutual respect, like, okay, we both tried it.
Oh god,
it's so dumb. But alas, I have one thing that I've saved for the end that may explain all of this stuff, and it's a video that I was watching just before
yes, you said
this started. Yes, this is actually kind of the highlight of the film for me now. I've watched a video, and the title is "Why Snowpiercer is a Sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory."
Yes, okay, nice.
And I know it sounds ridiculous, and I was like, this is ridiculous, but listening to it, it actually fills some of the plot holes, which I find really funny. So his idea is that, right, and he's fully self-aware in this video, I highly recommend checking it out, because I'm just going to paraphrase. His idea is that Wilford is actually Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay.
And Wilford Enterprises is like Wonka in the future, and he's trying to, like, you know, and that's kind of why he's insane, because he's basically, because, you know, at the end of Willy Wonka, he's like, hey, I have my factory, bitch.
Yeah.
And Charlie's like, "Okay, bro." And the idea is that Willy Wonka likes a ton of crazy, you know, kinds of different transport, like the boat and the like bicycle car that shoots out candy or whatever. And then these are some of my favorite things, is that he says this one's a stretch, but he tries to explain how certain characters would have ended up on the train, and how they're actually characters from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So the idea is that the Terminator guy is that kid who's obsessed with guns, you know, the one that ends up Mike TV or whatever. Because he likes guns and this man shoots guns, so the idea is that the child snatcher chubby woman is a daughter of Augustus Gloop. No, not just because she's a bit chubby, but because she like there was something like she eats like her own blood or whatever, like she just eats everything, and like the Augustus Gloop family, like there's a scene where, like, you know, the dad just eats the microphone pointed at him or something.
Christ.
And I'm like, okay. And there's a bunch of other things, but
is John Hurt the old granddad?
No, John Hurt would, because the old granddad would be dead by then. Because think about it, Willy Wonka's like 71 or something, 1971. You know the spy that Willy Wonka has that like is keeping an eye on Charlie?
Yeah.
He was like, look, he's like, is it just me or does he resemble John Hurt? He actually really does.
Oh, and I was like, full of a picture.
Bro, watch the video after this. It's so good. But my favourite thing of all that actually kind of makes some sense, and it's really weird, is that he says, and I know what you're asking now, what about the Oompa Loompas? And he says, I'm about to blow your fucking mind. He said, what if Wilford is actually Charlie? And obviously, he said, and in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, who, like, drives all of the vehicles? The Oompa Loompas. They're all designed with little people in mind. So, think about it.
Oh my god,
bro! The train only has room to fit really small children in. Who would design something like that unless they were clapped? Bruv, it was previously piloted by Oompa Loompas, and then the Oompa Loompas went extinct because there's no female Oompa Loompas. So they had to do children. Why does that actually make sense? Am I clapped? That kind of makes sense. Is it just me, or does that make sense?
I mean, yes. It makes sense.
Calm down, I've broken. Everything else from that theory is like, yeah, but you're telling me Charlie changed his name to Wilford and also changed Wonka to Wilford. Like, I get it, everything's labelled with a W like Wonka is, but why would he change his name? And what, you know what I mean? Like, all of that stuff's so far-fetched, but the Oompa Loompa thing actually makes more sense than any explanation that the film gives us, which is zero. That kind of makes sense. It'd be
small people, man.
At the end of the video, this is from like 2 years ago, but yeah, at the end of the video, the guy's like, yo, I want everybody to tweet Chris Evans, send in this video and get him to confirm that it's a sequel, he said, because if Chris Evans says it, it's officially canon.
Oh, in the Snowpiercer. The SCU.
Oh, man. I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that theory. It just makes me smile. Like, it's so dumb, but then the Oompa Loompas thing actually makes sense.
I hate it.
Bro, the Oompa Loompas?
Bro, they're just small people. They're just kids. Kids are small people which can get into small places. But like, usually,
the Oompa Loompas are fucking... They're midgets from Ibiza that have been in the tanning bed too long.
Because usually what would happen is you'd probably take the carriage off the track and do some, whatever, like take the parts out. But because everything's moving, I guess. Bro, why am I sticking up for this film? I've realised like I like it less and less.
It's because we talked about all the plot holes, which I didn't realise how much there were. You know what? I'm taking it down to a 6. I'm demoting it to 6.
Yeah, should we talk about some cool bits though? Cool, good
parts.
Just
to wrap it up, talk about some cool parts.
Yeah, we don't want to hate. We don't want to fill this podcast
with
too much negativity.
Yes, the dark fight scene where they turn the lights out and then they have the torches come in to save the day so that they can see and beat everybody is a really cool scene.
Yes, and it is very, very frightening for the boys. Can imagine, and they have all like night vision goggles, and their like perspective is cool as well.
Yeah, like first person.
Yeah. Ooh.
And there's even a really cool funny bit where like Tilda Swinton's character is like watching this go down like through binoculars because people are trying to like harass her and stuff. So she's like, "Fuck you, fucking poor people," and she's trying to watch them all get slaughtered through night vision goggles. And because it's all in first person, so we see through the night vision goggles, one of the guys is looking back at her to have like a profile shot for her. And at first I was like, really? There's just one random guy looking at her just to do the profile shot? Like, this is dumb. And then they acknowledge it and she like looks at him and goes, "What are you looking at me for, fuckface? Turn around." And I'm like, alright, that's cool.
Yeah, she has some good lines.
Oh, she's one of my favourite characters. I think she's fucking hilarious.
when they went over New Katarina Bridge, which means it's like Happy New Year basically, and they all stop.
They all stop fighting.
Yeah, which is it's great in of itself. But then when they start fighting again or something, she screams something like, "Happy New Katarina Bridge, you filthy ingrates."
Yeah.
There's other lines like that.
It's like it's another part of that just weird atmosphere that is just really fucking interesting, and like the fact that everybody's literally murdering each other and everybody stops to do Happy New Year. Like,
yeah, see, I like that side of like the weird kind of tone and the classroom.
I was gonna say that's why you like the school so much, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the height of the weirdness.
Yeah, like I like that part.
Bong Joon Ho does weirdness in films so good.
Yeah,
it just makes it so interesting.
Also, another part, because at one point they're going. Well, yeah, they go over New Katarina Bridge, and then because like when it goes dark or whatever, this is because they go in this really long tunnel, whatever.
Yeah.
And actually, no, I'm thinking about the wrong place. Basically, when they first get kind of up to like a next level, like next part of the train. They get to a point where there's actually windows.
Yes.
And then it's like such a shock for them because they've never seen outside.
They haven't seen it
probably for 17
years. Yeah.
And it's such like a blinding light and such a surprise. Like I was surprised myself, and I was just like, "Wow! Like that's fucking sick, man! Like just so amazing."
I mean, it looked like I said, the CG looked janky in terms of the frame rate, like it didn't look right, but the visuals were very cool. Like seeing the whole world frozen over, it was very interesting.
Yeah. Very good.
Obviously, the Chris Evans speech when he's talking about reveals about the cannibalism stuff is really fucking moving and powerful. What a great fucking monologue by Chris Evans. Mm-hmm. I like the Korean guy. I think he does a really cool job. The security guy who hacks them through each level. I think he's very interesting. Obviously, I think everything Tilda Swinton does is great. I don't really think I have much more to say, because I do think we did go over quite a lot of good stuff in non-spoilers as well. Like, I do feel generally the content of the film, in terms of what's on display, there is so much more good than there is bad. But the ending 20 minutes really does just raise so many questions that it just kind of ruin the experience, and it's very confusing. Like, I had to look up a lot of stuff at the end to be like, what the fuck is actually going on in this ending? Like,
yeah.
I
do still like it though.
Yes, I like it too.
Of these, but it's just not. It's not
consistent. Quite all there.
Yeah, which is.
We should probably watch Parasite down the line and actually like talk about, because it won Best Picture and apparently it's the fucking best thing ever. So
yeah. I need to watch like Parasite and Lighthouse, because the
Lighthouse is great. I would happily do an episode on the Lighthouse. It's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I have actually seen that one. It's very good, very scary.
Ooh. Willem.
Big Willem Dafoe. So I think that's everything we got to say. Thanks very much for listening, guys. I know.
Thank you so much.
We don't normally lay out a big plan for this podcast. Like, we just kind of randomly talk about things we want to talk about. This week, my dad suggested some Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman like comedy called Change Up, and then you mentioned Snowpiercer, and I was like, yeah, we'll probably have more to say about Snowpiercer than a random kind of. Apparently, it's a good comedy, but it's still American, so you never know.
We hate Americans.
I don't hate Americans, I just hate their comedy. Most of I still think
comedy.
Let's just quickly name some great American comedians. John Mulaney,
Bill Burr. We said this like 2 weeks ago.
I know. Who else?
Fucking Bert Kreischer.
Okay.
Tom Segura.
Yes. Oh, I love him. He's very funny. Fuck. Why am I drawing a complete blank? Oh my god. Who's the Anthony Helsinki? That's his name. He's funny as
Harvey
fuck.
Weinstein.
Somebody showed you the wrong prompt again.
Shit.
I think
fucking Michael. Fucking Michael. It was.
Fucking Michael.
Michael the intern.
Michael, you're getting fired after this.
You too, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy.
And Shanice.
Audience, stop clapping. I didn't tell you to clap. You showed them the clap prompt. Jeremy.
Fuck me. I think that was Shanice, you know.
Was that Shanice?
Fucking hell.
Oh, but I've kind of got a soft spot for Shanice. She makes a really good morning brown. Oh. By that I mean a shit in the toilet.
Nice and hot.
It's fucking. I come in. It looks like a sauna.
Oh, Shanice.
Oh god, I hate myself. But I am actually. Well, the point I was trying to make is I'm actually making a plan for next week, Joe. Something that people to get excited for, especially you, because I haven't. This is a complete surprise to you. I have not told you.
Is it going to be revealed right now?
It's going to be revealed right now. Next week, Joe.
Oh my god.
Get your childhood ready, because we are going to watch and talk about WALL-E.
Yo!
Don't ever say. Don't ever say I don't do nice things for you.
I might write a script for everything I need to say. I might. Oh my god.
Joe, elaborate to the audience why you're so excited right now.
Yo, it's probably it's in my top 5 favourite films, and you might think, oh, little baby Pixar film.
Little baby.
Little baby Pixar film. Little robot. Bro.
Does it make you
the
feel
soundtrack? Things? Bro, two robots falling in love makes me feel more things than any romantic drama could ever. Bitch. The soundtrack, the message.
I met Wally.
What?
I went to Disneyland and I met Wally. They had a little animatronic Wally going around and you could shake its hand.
Is that the one that's on the thumbnail for like Disney in real life or Pixar in real life?
Maybe.
Have you seen that on Disney Plus?
I haven't seen it. I went to Disneyland. So there's like a remote control bin that goes around with a microphone and some guys just controlling it and talking to people, which is quite funny. But no, I met Wally. He was a cool guy.
Oh, of course, man.
They also, when you're going down Main Street, they play like obviously different Disney songs, and I don't know. I'm talking about Disneyland. But yeah, I went down Main Street, and obviously the classic one to hear is the song from the start of Up, you know, which is probably the best, most fitting one, especially in the morning. But they play some of the songs from Wall-E and late at night, and it's moving. You know what I mean?
It's so good.
It's your favorite animated film, and I think you already said, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's so good, and the opening like 20 minutes of like no dialogue, and you just following
apocalyptic baby.
Yeah, and you just following Wall-E, like, and you just know you like.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next week.
Fuck.
We'll talk about it, you bloody pleb.
So good.
I'm just trying to think, like, in terms of Pixar films, I prefer Ratatouille. I like Ratatouille a lot.
I haven't watched Ratatouille that much, so I couldn't comment.
I'm not even kidding. In my last relationship that I was in, she was a fucking Disney nut. She was obsessed with Disney, and we watched Ratatouille so much, like I can't even and yet I still for some reason we'd always skip the opening 20 minutes. Like, we'd skip to when he gets to Paris. Like, I think we just didn't need to see, the opening of the story explained, because I think that would have made it sour for us. But there's something about Ratatouille that's so rewatchable. Like, I must have, in like a year and a half going out with her, I must have watched it like, God, maybe nearly 30 times. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like, we just really liked Ratatouille. Linguini. But yeah, I like Wall-E. I'd have to. Next week, you know what? We'll watch it, and then next week we'll also rank our top 5 Pixar Disney film. Well, just Disney or Pixar films, because I think that'll be interesting.
I watched Coco the other day as well. Oh, it made me tear up. Bro, when I was watching it,
you keep me guessing.
When I was watching it, like, it got to the like teary moment. Well, there's two kind of teary moments, but
What's
basically
the teary moment in it?
Basically, when
I don't tear up at Disney.
When the old like woman, the like dementia, like Alzheimer's ridden old granny, she's like remembering at the end, and because she's forgetting her dad, and he's still in like the death world.
I know what you mean.
He's like disappearing, and it's fuck.
That made you. Well, fair play.
But yeah, my mom came into my room, so I just kind of looked downwards whilst talking to her
to hide the tears.
Yes.
Am I okay to leave that in?
Yes.
Okay. That's too funny to cut out.
I'm emotionless.
You didn't want your mom to see you.
Yeah, okay, I think that's a good
way to end it. So,
that's it, man.
Thanks very much for listening, guys. If you're listening on YouTube, please either consider subscribing or just check out a bunch of our other videos that we have on here. I've done some funny things, at least I think funny. Also, if you're listening on Spotify, cool, thank you. You can follow the podcast, and then it'll let you know when new episodes come out on your homepage, which is nice. They come out every Sunday. You don't really need to be reminded. It's pretty easy to remember. Thank you very much. I noticed that last week we had a big dip in viewers because people don't like Kissing Booth, which one side of me is like, it's depressing that we went down in views, but at the same time I'm like, at least it kind of proves our point that Kissing Booth is shit.
It is.
And if I have to sacrifice views for that, then I gladly will. But
Noble
yeah, people who listen every week, you're fucking legends. Thank you very much. We really appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you.
Really appreciate. You know what? For you, 2 gold stars.
Yo, you get a smiley sticker from me.
Oh, 2 gold stars and a smiley sticker.
And you know what? You know what? A pat on the head. I know it's weird. I know it's weird to get physical, but just a pat on the head.
It'd have to be like a socially distanced pat on the head. You'd have to get like a 2-meter stick ruler and just tap them on the head from.
Or a whack-a-mole hammer.
Oh, do you think they make those that are 2 meters long?
Maybe.
We'll go on Amazon and we'll find out. So anyway, I've been Dan.
Yeah, I've been Joe. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm afraid your chance to write a bad review and have Joe jump through your front window and choke you. I'm afraid the date has passed. Joe's beyond that now.
Well, I've moved on to greater things.
You've moved on to greater things. So this week, if any of you leave a bad review, Joe will total your car.
Yeah.
And if you don't own a car,
I'll beat the shit out of your entire family.
if you're gonna leave a bad review, make sure you've either A, got a family, or B, got a car.
Wouldn't it be ideal to not have neither if you want to leave a bad review?
True, but then what do you do if they don't have a family or they don't have a car? Do you total them?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
You'll find out next week, or if you leave a bad review. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Snowpiercer.